Good afternoon, and welcome to DieDragonDie presents the Demonwatch campaign episode 6. I'm joined by my buddy Adam. We're waiting for Ahmed to join. I think he's putting the kids to sleep. How's it going, Adam?
It's not bad.
Too many me's. My mic is working. All right, how about that?
Perfect. Not too bad. Getting ready for Christmas holiday. Almost got the stuff done at work. So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I slept most of the day today. I went to Star Wars, and aside from the Uncanny Valley, I don't want to ruin anything. But holy fuck.
So they were sold out for Thursday, so my tickets are for Friday.
Got it. So we'll play more game tomorrow then.
More games tomorrow then.
Awesome. All right. I can adjust my schedule of, I don't know, watching the Habs game or whatever. I can record it and not get drunk while watching hockey. How about that? Okay. So the worst thing about Star Wars was the sick family next to me. I swear I just got over a cold. And they fucking hacked and sneezed, like, through this thing. And they're, like, right next to me. I'm like, I don't want it. And this morning I was like, oh, you fucking kidding me? Really, I just got over the cold of colds and I can feel something. So maybe that's why I was sleeping all day today. But game, I've got caffeine, so we're all set and good to go.
I've got caffeine and I got some Jolly Rancher hard candies. So
All right.
I've got something to suck on.
And
you take that however you want. It's all you, baby.
Things I don't want to be all me. Weird.
Baby.
All right, so why don't we do a quick recap of last game while waiting for Ahmed. Icon shares holy songs with his friends in an attempt to lift their spirits. Fi remains troubled, however, at the violence of things. Lan Halfhorn leads the party to the upper sewers and out onto the streets of Valderas. The once strong Crusader city lay in smoking ruins, its skyline now missing a few key structures. While gaining their bearings, they find that evil and madness stalks the streets, preying upon the survivors. And last game session was called Emergence.
Demons are bad.
Demons are bad, and apparently people are bad as well.
The people that worship demons, they're also bad. Right? There's a...
Yeah, they found... They confronted 3 wrecker demons that were terrorizing a couple
those demons.
An older couple that owned a tailor shop, and then they came across several cultists that were tossing people into a pit where there were 4 dretches that were trapped.
See, see, they didn't have to. They chose. So
Right.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think where we'll start off with that group is that, you know, you've picked people out of the pit. You've got these 2 children. I'll subtract a spell from Icon as maybe a channel.
Okay. Five uses the levitate to lift up the kids.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm strong enough to do 1 kid at a time.
Yeah, and you find that that the cultists were robbing coins. You find a large sack of coins, and then you also find some bits and debris that are on some of the people that were victims of the dretches. So I've put some treasure onto the sheet, some of which needs to be identified because it is magical. Some minor stuff, including
Greetings, Sir Tom.
a pouch of semi-precious stones. It looked like a knight fell down there because there's Masterwork chain shirt, a Masterwork heavy steel shield, and a Masterwork heavy mace, a scroll, and a minor wand.
That is actually some really good stuff on the whole.
Right. The cultist lured some, like second-level warrior down the hole or something.
I spent my family savings on this.
And then the cultists had 3 Masterwork scythes and 3 Masterwork daggers, and 3 unholy symbols with fly wings. Let me just summon 1d2 loud trucks in the distance, 2 of them.
And I think Hadrian scoops up the holy symbols and puts them in the reliquary of horror, or what it's called, the contraband.
Contraband, religious contraband. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that probably needs to end up going there. But actually, we're gonna switch gears for a moment. We're going to go to a different character. Given that John's bowing out of this campaign for a while, it's just Ahmed and Adam. I decided to let them run a couple of characters each. So, it's doing it again. It didn't save. Didn't I add big squares? Give me a second.
One moment, technical difficulties.
Yeah, I don't want, like, the map to be visible in the faces, the portholes where the other people are. It seemed to not save my work from last time, so...
For post?
No, this is XSplit.
Oh. Yes, the XSplit's all messed up.
XSplit's doing something stupid. It did something stupid last game where I put a big black box over top of the chat, and I didn't realize it was doing that, so...
Imagine there was glorious conversation amongst many learned individuals.
Which is okay if you view it on Twitch, not okay if you view it on others. So just let me just see if I can add a black square here. This is scintillating.
If Marty had his edit foo down, he could record the Twitch stream and implant the chat onto it.
No, that's like fucking hours of work, man, for each stream.
It's not too bad. So once Adam finishes buying a house, Adam will upgrade his hardware, and Adam could do some of the that sort of stuff.
Post-production?
Do a little bit of post for you?
No. Basically, all the post is pre-production.
Right now, all the post is pre-production.
Oh,
yes.
you know why I can't find the black square? Because I moved the file location on my... I remember, like, I'll just stick the black square over here. That's why. Yeah. It's saying you can't find black square.
Yeah, I'm starting to get that whole.
That'll do it.
My rig's on quasi life support. It's had a run of upgrades, and it needs to be put out to pasture, I think.
Your rig?
Yep, my PC could. I mean, in terms of like as a budget gaming PC, it's still pretty solid. But I you know, with work and stuff, I'm starting to feel less like a man with a tiny budget.
Right.
Throw an extra few bucks at it, you know, so that I can actually run it without having to keep the side open so it doesn't overheat.
There we go.
For example. Yeah.
There we go. Don't move assets around for Twitch, or sorry, for XSplit, because apparently it's not absolute file paths. It is absolute file paths, not relative.
Mm-hmm.
Or it doesn't keep track of you changing. Anyways, makes sense. But annoying. Okay, so yeah, we're going to do an introduction for one of Adam's secondary characters, or his second character for the campaign. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about Ven-Taren while I bring up.
Ven-Taren is a dragonborn knight of the sovereigns. He is a paladin fighter, sword and board man. He worships Bahamut, which seemed only fitting considering the mistake I made last session, which was hilarious. He is a a noble guard of the sovereigns, and I figured that they might be very interested in this realm, especially considering the chief sovereign just died, or we believe when the head comes off of a dragon, it dies. We've yet to face the proof of its death aside from the head falling off part. He is a very proud and intimidating gentleman who is, of course, a goodly man, as he must be to be a paladin, but does view things with a longer eye, an eye of someone who is part dragon, I guess.
Okay, so let me add a few details here. So Ven-Taren or Ven-Taren, or is it apple? Is it tomato?
Is it tomato? It's tomato. In my head, it's Ven-Taren. Although normally I would use Terran for that, but it's Taren.
Got it. So dragon-blooded does not mean half-dragon, although sometimes there are those that exhibit more draconic qualities as they grow older. You are just enough of a dragon that your mother was brought to a world called Kretch, which is where apparently all dragons are born, or at least all for that you're concerned. And you actually spend a little bit of your early childhood there as well, where you're taught about the sovereignty. You might also believe that other dragons outside of the sovereignty are also born here. Metallics, basically.
The true dragons.
Yep. As it was not safe to go to Io's Islands, they established Kretch, and unless you have not deep knowledge history or anything like that, you might not know why.
I've got a rank in nobility, a rank in religion, and a rank in planes. And when I get a free rank at some point, would you like to learn more? I might put something in Arcana just so I know what a dragon is.
So there's a special world where it's safe enough that dragons are born and taught by these massive gold and silver dragons and their servants and that sort of thing. You belonging to a lower class or a lower caste, just by blood, you are not actually dragon, but in those early years, you were instilled with the might and majesty of dragons, and the fact that you were born to really serve your household, and then serve your clan, and then serve the sovereignty, and then serve all goodly dragons. It's kind of like the order. So Ven-Taren, you are of House Zeron, and the patriarch of your house is Zoran-Thal the Ancient. He is a silver dragon, and apparently it was his family, or perhaps even he, that sired some of the half-dragons that eventually sired your people. House Zeron is a member of Clan Nuvander, which means Cloud Walker in Draconic. So his name would be Zoran-Thal Zeron Nuvander. First name, house name, clan name. So technically your name would be Ven-Taren Zeron Nuvander.
All right. So
all this stuff is under relatives and that sort of thing, so you can copy and paste it. He, in the grand scheme of things, is one of the sovereigns, and he's the Lord of Terrazleen. Terrazleen is the world where you all go to before coming to Voros, if you remember. Terrazleen was where we started the adventure with Eryxes and with Eldon.
In transit.
Yeah, in transit. It's also a Crusader training ground. Cool. So Zoran-Thal the Ancient is actually the Lord of Terrazleen. He's in charge of not only that gate, but that fortification, as well as the world that thing is on. Now, whether or not he controls every square inch of that world is, debatable. But for his for what you need to know. Now, you learned about Bahamut probably when you were in Kretch. It was a logical god for you to fall into. And then you served the sovereignty not only through blood, but by you joining the Ardent Order, which is an order of paladins that serve the Protectorate of Silvermane. The Protectorate of Silvermane is what the local Silver Dragons rule over. And it's this collection of worlds that includes Voros. Voros, of course, is their main concern. They've taken custody of a world long ago where demons have spilled into things. Again, you would need knowledge history to know whether this happened before or after the Silver Dragons took over, but it seems like the Silver Dragons have taken responsibility for managing the Crusade.
Okay.
Yeah. So you are a Knight of the Ardent Order. The Ardent Order isn't just Paladins of Bahamut. The Ardent Order actually includes Paladins from a large number of religions, including Heronius, Saint Cuthbert, Paladins from the gods of the Holy Order of Saints and Saviors, Palor, halfling gods, dwarven gods. It's basically all these the various gods of the pantheons that are worshipped on the worlds that are managed by the Protectorate. So it's not just Bahamut, but because you are kind of from a family from the sovereigns, that related to the sovereigns, and then you worship a god that likely the sovereigns themselves worship. You've been given some preferential treatment. There's probably some unwritten rules as to the number of Bahamut paladins that are absolutely required to be in the Ardent Order. So you're like a low-level member of a sort of a higher class of people. So you're a Knight of the Ardent Order. You're Sovereign Born, which is more of a social title. Like, it's a polite way to call Dragonborn. Dragonborn that are of metallic that are related to the sovereigns, like your Sovereign Born.
It's probably quite preferential to, like, dirty half-breed or something like that.
And you added something about you're the third of House Zeron. So you're... I was just
writing out stuff. If that exists or not is just a thing. I was just... Sure. What would be a pompousy dragon thing to say?
Sure. We'll just say the obvious first... yeah, okay. You come from a lawful society. You come from a lawful society.
That as being like the third son, or would be what I was thinking.
No, your house is too big for that. So this would be more like your third in command. Given that you come from a lawful society, they probably have a hierarchy of control over the household. Now, Zaranthal's not the first in command. He's above any sort of like
concept of command.
Well, a concept of command during your life, like during a human's lifetime. Now, Dragonborn, what did I say? They live like half-elves do.
Yep.
So,
sorry I'm late, guys.
No worries. We were just introducing Ven-Taren. So,
cool.
Generations of Dragonborn will go by. And it's just an orderly way of like, well, who's next in line? All right.
When I wake up, let me know who's in charge, because you're all dead.
Right. Now, you were born in the traditional place of metallic dragons. You grew up on Kretch and Terraslene, which is also the home of House Zeron, because Zaranthal the Ancient is there. You trained as a paladin of Bahamut by a paladin sponsor. So eventually they kind of hooked you up with a master that kind of
Jedi.
Sure. Because all master apprentice relationships is Jedi. They didn't take that from the concept of, guilds or
Jedi.
like.
It's just fun to say Jedi.
Fine. You joined the Ardent Order to serve the sovereignty and protect Silvermane, also alongside holy warriors of many faiths and races. This led you to service on Voros and taking the Crusaders' oath. The Fourth Crusade, you have a more of a better position to kind of judge this because you've been in the court of people who actually have these types of conversations. The Fourth Crusade has it hasn't quite ended. It just sort of like petered out. Like there weren't enough great heroes to go and do anything more than kind of patrol the edges of the world wound. There were some setbacks. And then the quality of the Crusaders that were attracted in the Fourth Crusade was much lower. The dragons had to do things like ask the Targosians to come help. Like a bunch of chaotic neutral...
That's a horrible race. I mean, just asking to be turned to demons.
Right. So there's been a... kind of a general defensive posture by the goodly religions of the Fourth Crusade, and it's been sort of mired down. So it hasn't really ended. It kind of like even before Terran's down, it's just sort of petered out to a trickle. Like there wasn't much being done. There wasn't much ground being made. It was almost like the Fourth Crusade became paralyzed by its own. It's like lack of focus.
Focus.
Now, originally there was focus. The focus was there was an attack on the wall, an unsuccessful one, by some major demons and forces, which cracked the wardstone at Valderas. And that was the kind of like the event that sparked the beginning of the Fourth Crusade. So that's recent history. You probably joined as a Crusader around that time. Now, as a reward for good service, and probably because of a bit of preferential treatment, you were assigned to not a very dangerous job, but to be Sovereign Tarandelev's honor guard. You and probably 16 other paladins basically did whatever Tarandelev told you to, and then stood around and just deflected low-level annoyances. Tarandelev, of course, was a frickin' dragon, so a lot of times you were like you were a bodyguard. You were kind of like
I was
bodyguard.
crowd control. It's the guy with the little yellow letters on the jacket that says security.
And probably like number 14, 15, or 16th in rank out of those 16 paladins that guarded. I
was still getting the coffee.
That's right. Now, things, of course, went poorly during the Armas celebration. And let me go to the map of Valderas. Describe what happened to you, Ven-Taren, during the attack.
A sneaky mage came in and cast a very small-scale illusion around the bar that the adventurers were in.
You can roll a d4 to see how many limbs you have left. I mean...
Yay! 1d4 boo-boos! I've got 4 boo-boos. I should have said limbs.
You said how many limbs you have left. You're good.
On the day of the speeches and that sort of thing, you weren't actually in Crusaders Square, thankfully, because you may not be amongst the living, if you were. And in fact, you were lucky enough because you were very close to the kite when it exploded.
Ooh.
You were actually walking with some dignitaries, some young nobles, enjoying the sights of the city from high up on the walls. They had basically petitioned your house, or they were rich enough that they were granted basically a tour of the walls.
Okay.
kind of like during this celebration, and they were taking their time, and you were trying to rush them back to get a good view of what was going on. And kind of in a strange twist of fate, had you been on time, would have met your end like the rest of them.
That's no good.
You have a strange feeling now when you think back on that moment, kind of resting up in the hovel of a building while the storm was raging. One of the nobles, they were being tardy, but one of the nobles was having a fit. You've seen sick people before, maybe. I don't know. Do you have any ranks in heal?
He is not a genius.
It's wisdom based.
Well, he is not wise.
He's the Boomias.
No ranks in heal. He knows how to remove sickness, though, specifically sickened.
Okay, it was one of your paladin buddies that was with you. You're like, go on. You remember saying, "Go on ahead. I'll catch up." And
I'll catch up.
You turned back and you saw one of the two nobles that you were escorting was having like an epileptic fit, but they were standing upright and hovering 6 feet off the ground, and it looked like there were 3 of them, all overlapped each other. Like,
knowledge, religion.
Knowledge, crazy shit. I need a young and an old priest.
Yeah, I do need a young and old priest. I've seen that movie. 21.
well, you've heard possessions, like people acting strange, but there's something about this one where it was very odd. And the other noble actually kind of didn't notice at first until he stood there and then looked back, and it was like moments before this thing happened. Like you actually started walking towards him to see.
Walks towards the dude, and like,
and that's when there was a thunderous crack behind you, and things began to explode, and you looked back when the Lightning King was descending from the clouds, and people were screaming, and demons started appearing. The noble... Give me a perception check.
Wow, you... I don't know if I perceive either. I have a racial bonus to perceiving. 4.
You don't know where the noble went. You turned your head, and by that point in time, there were already explosions that were throwing you off the wall and into the river. Like basically, the explosion of the kite sent you and a bunch of people, hundreds of people, died in that explosion. Poor and rich alike. Warrior and citizen.
What was the name of this noble?
Give me an in check.
5?
You can remember the name of the guy that didn't have the fit.
Okay.
His name was House Temen. It was a human house. Arlo of House Temen. But you can't remember the guy's name, the other guy. In fact, you have a hard time remembering his face. or anything about him. You just remember that it happened.
It is a sign of something very good or of something very bad.
This is something that you're just piecing together as the storm was raging and you were trying to recover. After being blown into the water, you spent some time struggling against your armor to swim ashore. You tried to help people when you realized there were things swimming in the water. Bad things.
Okay.
Demonic things.
Okay.
And the full-on attack on Valderas was on. You did manage to swim downstream and grab a hold of some of the dock areas.
Okay.
I'm actually going to go to the post-Terrans down and expose some of the map of, the destruction that you know about.
Okay.
You got washed downriver towards the southern part of town. So here's the destruction of the kite.
That's a big hole.
Yeah, that's why when you were along the walls, you got blasted into the
Holy
shit,
river. That is a big hole.
And then there was
That's like multiple stabs of power size boom.
You managed to get to a southern water pump that was also destroyed, and that those dock areas ended up being the place where you managed to swim aboard and actually save some people who had fallen into the water. You spent some time fishing people out of the water there. Your third level, so we'll say that you coming out of the rents were massive worms that seemed to drop dretches like little
Damn you, dredges!
Like dozens and dozens of dretches that were just simply holding onto their backs.
Where were the worms coming out of?
It was just chaos. He didn't actually see.
They came from the abyss.
You managed to defend the dock area for a while, but realized that you needed to get away from the dock area because this was also the place where the swimming demons were coming. Do you have knowledge planes?
Yes, I do. Demons are bad.
Yes, demons
I have
are
a
bad.
rank in knowledge planes. 1d20 plus 1. Here we go. 3. Demons are bad.
No, these demons were the size of ogres and seemed to be at home in the water. And there were at least a dozen of them, and they were swimming it and basically killing people that fell into the water.
Stay out of the water. It is not safe.
And then you realize that there was no way for them to climb up except for the docks. If you notice, the kind of like the cliffs rise up on both sides.
We
of the docks.
destroy the docks. It's unless I immediately see like a raft filled with school children and nuns, it's the way to prevent them from getting on the docks.
Well, you defended the docks for a while until you had to retreat. Basically, you're.
Okay.
I'm assuming you're not the throwaway my life kind of paladin.
No, it's a terrible paladin.
Right.
Arrgh!
Live to fight another day, right?
Yep.
What did save you and give you enough time to do this was that in the initial part of the attack, there were horrible storms. Like, the destruction of the kite and the wardstone allowed the horrible abyssal storms that rage across the world wound to kind of, like, blow through the opening, like there was a pressure. And the sky was red, and it was raining, and some of the rain was, like, acid rain, and then other pockets it was, like, gouting fire, and there were horrible winds and dust clouds everywhere. It was madness, but this horrible weather... did give you the cover to make your way inland, where you found more destruction.
Those are. What's the scale of this thing? 1 to 1? It's 1 to 1. That's a big thing. Okay. The wall's 10 feet wide.
Yeah, massive rents through the wall. Horrible rifts opening up. Fissures, gas, monsters, demons stalking the streets. Oh, the demons. Because of the weather, you didn't see them all, but you got the sense that the entirety of the world wound all began teleporting into Valderas, wreaking destruction and then teleporting away with prisoners, with loot.
I need a priest. I needed somebody to tell me what to do.
Right. So, during the storm, there was an interesting thing that you did see. And you did battle your way into the southern part of the city, which seemed to be largely untouched by a lot of the destruction. You made your way there, where you told people to stay indoors, to lock up, that sort of thing. You actually did receive. They recognized you as a paladin and a sovereign born, and you received sanctuary in some of these places.
Stay inside.
However, the raids and confusion continued for several days. There was an event about 2 days later where you were trying to organize people organize some sort of defense. You were looking after some people in the regional area. You were wondering what the heck you were going to do. You noticed that the Cathedral of St. Clydewell was gone. The kite was gone from the skyline. But there was also a different thing. While the storm subsided, or at least pulled up into the higher atmosphere, there was, at least the rains, and there was a period of time, a couple days later, where you could actually see, long distance.
Mm-hmm.
And in one of these lightning storms, flying out of the sky, which a lot of people kind of were pointing at and saw, was a giant whale. There was this big poof in the heavens, in the clouds, there was this kind of maelstrom above the city for a while. It seemed to swim out of the maelstrom. It was swimming oddly, though, as it got hit by lightning a bunch of times. And it was kind of flying kind of bent sideways and and almost folded in on itself. It was making these pitiful noises that the entire town...
Chaos comes. Shield your eyes, children.
Right. When it started to fall, it actually got swept up by some sort of force. And it fell like it was attracted to something. It went dizzying kind of downwards towards something that was unseen, at least until it was struck. And I'm going to uncover, just kind of in the middle of the madness, you see that dark dot?
Yeah?
When the whale struck the invisible structure, it bounced off a great field of magic and has caused this many-story-high mage's tower, is the only way you could describe it, to appear. And as the storms are raging, the invisible tower actually flickers visible and has been doing so for the last couple of days. The whale struck the ground with a mighty poof of smoke and debris around it. The tower seemed to be no worse for wear, aside from these electrical storms and the fact that you can now see the tower.
Okay, we're going to the tower.
Okay, so you...
Get to guy who knows stuff.
Right.
I don't know a damn thing. You know stuff, I want to talk to you.
Okay, so you gathered up your strength and decided that people should organize and help themselves in here when you're going to slowly make your way across the city towards the strange event. This flying whale hitting some invisible tower, making it visible,
Yes. Also, if this was Fi, he'd be thinking more about how effective would it using an attack whale? Summon a whale and drop it on you. Sounds pretty good to me. Spell resist
What
that.
are you, a druid?
Yeah, and you give me a knowledge planes for this thing as well.
I've got 1 rank, 1d20 plus 1, 7.
Yeah, you have no idea about. You're lucky you even know what a whale is.
There was a large fish.
That is the least aerodynamic bird I've ever seen.
Right. But you've been around dragons enough that it seemed like it was able to fly even though it didn't have wings. Like something that didn't have any sort of flight would have just fallen straight down. Instead, it was kind of caught up in the big maelstrom and ended up falling and then getting attracted to.
Need to find the whale and go to the tower.
Okay.
This we do.
So you begin battling your way through the streets, and I think one of these first battles might be a good place to start.
Yeah, and we're also trying to not pick fights with things that are way bigger than us. If the Glabrezu is walking past, we're gonna let the Glabrezu walk past. Whatever.
Not worth
So
the XP.
in the couple of days where you were hunkered down in the southern city, you began to hear rumors that demons were leaving. And you have this really bad feeling that in 3 days of looting, destruction, and mayhem, plus the explosions, the rifts that opened up, that only a fraction of the populace remains. Like, when you decimate a population, that means you kill 1 in 10.
Yeah.
This population has been decimated in 3 or 4 days over and over and over. Give me an int check.
10.
You're guessing about, just by counting the houses that got broken into, or that are gone, about 1 in 3 people remain. You actually have seen some of them carried off by demons. Not all the demons teleport. Some of them kind of swooped in and just carried them off. Some of them eat people right on the spot. But you have the sense, and you guys have been fighting the demon kind of World Wound for long enough that you know that they take live prisoners and bring them back into the World Wound.
We need to know what weapons we have left.
Oh, I gave it some thought, and I did a bit of extra reading. The World Wound is a separate terrain type than the Abyss itself. The World Wound represents the Abyss mixing with prime material. It's not actually the Abyss, so you can change your favorite terrain if you would like to World Wound. It's the size of like several countries, and it's right next to you. And it's also overlapped now with Valderas. Like, Valderas now is in the World Wound.
You see the big black goopy holes? Those might be World Wound. They look kind of woundish.
So just because it would be sad if there was only one terrain for the entire campaign, you know, that sort of thing. You can pick urban. Urban would also apply right into this area. World Wound would apply to wherever the area of that corruption is, and then the Abyss is actually a separate terrain.
The Abyss is the Abyss.
Yeah. So you could change your favorite enemy or your favorite terrain if you would like, Ahmed.
World Wound?
Yep.
The World Wound.
The World
Wound. Well, I shall take my vengeance upon all the demons in that.
So while Icon, Phi, and Eldon.
Hadrian.
No, Hadrian wasn't there. Lan Halfhorn. We're picking the children and the treasure out of the pit.
True. Hadrian was like knocked the fuck out.
He got his ass just like sideways, like he was your butthole, buddy.
Yep. I'm gonna go to the conversation layer, and we'll set up a scene for the paladin.
Man, oh man, oh man, oh man. That's the kind of day I've had. Yeah.
How you doing, Ahmed?
Fucking tired, man.
Yeah, we're actually playing again tomorrow, because apparently...
Oh, that's... Shit, I'm down. I'm fucking in.
Awesome.
My wife couldn't get Star Wars tickets for Thursday night, so we're going Friday.
Is, are we doing Demon or Legend?
Yeah, we'll continue with demons. I got stuff prepped. All right, so we need
stones galore.
We need a token for the paladin. Which is one of my favorite characters from
Babylon 5.
Yeah.
Yep. He makes some
with a nice blue filter. Did you do the blue filter, or did somebody else do it?
Yeah, I did the blue filter. It's actually it was a hue with some curve adjustment, and then I did alter adjustment for the eyes to make them pop a little more.
Awesome.
I was waiting for parts to come in at work, and I'm like, Photoshop, here we go.
Very cool.
Shoop to hoop. You would be a good dragon man.
So you're picking your way throughout the city. At this point in time, you are very cautious. While you may not be stealthing, you're not like just charging up and down the streets. You haven't been able to find a healthy mount. Something also happened to a lot of food in the town. A lot of things went rotten. You're hearing rumors that there are dead stalking the streets, although there seems to be a distinct lack of bodies. Like, some demons enjoy eating them, some of them probably carrying them away for ill ends. The streets are actually kind of spooky, filled with smoke. The reddish hue in the sky just seems to stay. And you've already begun to suspect that people have begun turning against each other. And this next encounter is no exception. Let's see. Let's get some Crusaders.
Oh, if they are wearing... See, if they were just like people all pushing and shoving, they're pushing and shoving with tabards on. Going to be a Garrett style discipline.
Reckoning like no other. Yeah, I'm fine.
All right.
I'm perfectly fine, guys.
But when there's
Garrett in discipline would be like, shoot a man in the face and then ask the rest if they have any questions.
Any questions? Oh, we have a dumb one in the house.
Fuck.
Yeah, we go. We'll just use a town guard token.
Oh, that's what I forgot. Son of a monkey's ass.
Sure?
Son of a monkey's ass.
Yeah.
That was
So a shit?
Yeah, a flying turd, more like it. It's the fate of all monkey ass turd.
So usually we all get together before we start streaming to deflate a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
We didn't do this, unfortunately.
It's been a rough day.
So are you getting the cane, Ahmed, or are you getting cookies?
Yeah, I'm getting Kleenex. I'll blow my goddamn nose. You guys waiting for me?
Please
No,
mute before you blow your nose.
I'm building a token, actually, for the encounter. My bad. I didn't actually decide which encounter we were going to run until,
Does it feel right?
Yep.
There was a bit of a choose-your-own-adventure before then. What did you do? Are you going to strut boldly ahead and get murdered? No.
Well,
Okay,
kind of, yeah. I was sort of waiting for some indication of,
Personality type.
yep. All right, there's some kerfuffle. You don't like what these Crusaders are saying.
Thankfully, Dragonborn no common.
Why? What's your int?
Not good. 10.
Okay, so you're walking down the street. At first, you see a guard. He's sort of looking on at this scene, but the guard looks really tired. He's a city guard. His uniform is all dirty, and he's actually yawning, like he really doesn't care about what's going on. The guard himself is wearing half plate, and he's sort of leaning on his halberd, like he's like it's keeping him awake. Around the corner, however, there seem to be a little bit more of aggressive Crusaders. The ones that you can see, they are all similarly dressed. As the website is loading, I'll describe their armaments. Or once it loads. Come on.
You can just tell us the website. We'll go check it out ourselves.
With the stats and everything.
It'd be perfect.
I believe they're wearing breastplate.
He said breath.
Yep. And you can hear one of them. At first, you're like, "Oh, good, warriors. They might be able to, help, or
They might be able to assist.
they might be able to assist." When you hear one of them chime out, "Your sacrifice aids the cause of goodness." You can hear some low chuckles.
All right, so we're moving over there. I would like to see said sacrifice, because sacrifice can be in good. Usually not with that voice, though.
No. Please. Are you sure? Yes, they're... In the name of all that light and holy, please let me go.
There's
Where are your
sound
other
of-
sisters? We've got other swords that need blessing.
Oh, there's a sound of a sword being unsheathed.
The guard looks over at you, and he may be so tired that he might not have time to process what's going on. This Crusader, hey, someone approaches. Is it a demon? And you notice that they're drawing their blades are actually all out already.
I am Ven-Taren of the Ardent God, of the Ardent Order. You shall assist me.
Wait your turn. We only got one virgin, friend. And you turn around and you can see that there is a knowledge religion.
6. There's a woman.
Yeah, half-elven woman. She is in very, very thin white robes. They've got her on the ground, kind of on her knees. Two of them are kind of roughing her up and sort of holding her there. This guy looks like he's got his sword in a downwards position, like he's gonna thrust his blade right into her.
You have until...
So
Breath weapon time, baby.
They step forward. They've got their blades out. They're back off.
5 foot step here and breathe, nigga. Breathe, baby. Breathe, baby.
I will perform a dazzling display. I will wave my sword around menacingly. Sounds like initiative.
All right.
It seems your course is set.
I think it's initiative if you're waving your sword around.
Yeah, I'm waving my sword around.
They're
Yep.
approaching you.
Here's my cane.
There's something odd about the way that they've got the sword positioned. If they were just going to kill her, it would have been done already. It's like he's trying to stick his blade into her and have the entire blade still be in her. Like kind of pointed down at her neck.
Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, says the town guard, finally cluing into the fact that there may be a ruckus. As you are severely outnumbered here, Ven-Taren.
Oh yeah, we're. Whoopsie. It would have been a good time to roll well on initiative.
Yep.
I did not.
So I'm going to go to the initiative sheet for a second.
Marty,
I'm going to add
do
Ven-Taren.
we happen to hear
Well,
a
let's
ruckus?
let's let Ven-Taren.
Let's see how it goes.
Just in case Adam was metagaming, oh, the other party will come and save me.
So, Adam, this is how I see your character. I'm Ven-Taren.
What is your initiative modifier, Ven-Taren?
Sorry.
+3. Well,
And you-
they're wearing breastplate, and I doubt they're proper fighters of enough levels, so I should be able to outrun them.
So we're going to call these low Crusaders, and then a town guard.
Yeah, that half plate.
The other guys are wearing breastplates, so there's a lot of plate.
There you go.
Yep. The town guard, however, half plate is a perfect armor for him.
He's slow.
He's slow and a little bit sleepy.
So sleepy.
And the other guard's a little more uppity. Low Crusaders. All right. So town guards, or town guard, 16, and then the other guys get a 12.
Yep. I go last.
Wow.
Ven-Taren, you got a what? 5?
I got a 5.
Okay. So it will be the town guard. Hey, stand down, is what he says. Let's see if he's got any way of backing that up.
He summons a celestial horse.
I'm warning you. He will
Who's he talking
attempt
to,
to
Marty?
intimidate you with a 23.
That would work, except it doesn't work.
You're a paladin, you're immune to fear.
Yeah.
Evil will not intimidate you into not standing up for your fellow sentient, I guess, or
Fear has been
innocence.
beaten out of me a long time ago.
Okay, so that was the town guard trying to send you off. He's kind of like one of those portly dudes. It's obvious that he's not going to be running or doing wind sprints or anything like that. The Low Crusaders, these two guys, hold still, is what one of them says as they're struggling with her. In the name of the holy gods, let this virgin's blood bless my blade and turn it into a demon-slaying weapon. He's got a sword. Ding, ding, ding. As they're now attacking Ven-Taren as soon as his blade is live. Huh? Yeah, he'll turn around. There looks like you're interrupting their ceremony.
Yeah. Well,
And they're going to attack.
they're doing it wrong.
Okay, a clumsy backhanded swing from the northern guy. AC 10.
Nope. AC 20 flat-footed.
And then a standard thrust from the guy to the south. AC 20.
AC 20 flat-footed.
Ooh.
I'm flat-footed.
Longsword. 10 damage.
Okay.
It's a lot.
That's all right. It might not be all right, but we'll see.
No!